hasn't started here yet either.
Well, it's on though. It might start sometime. There we go. Now it's starting.
Hello, hello, and good morning. Ready for some breakfast? I sure am. Hi, I'm Tiffany. Welcome to my quilting life and another episode of Breakfast at My Place. Today, we're going to have burnt bacon, pink sausage, and white pancakes. I know, I'm so weird. Why is this not working over here?
Give it a second. Mine just barely started.
Okay, there it is. I know where the buttons are. Just need to press them. All right, let's see who's here real quick. We got Cindy, Kim, Karen, Diane, Chris, Norma, Amy, Dawn, Tracy, a little more, and many more. Welcome, everybody, and good morning. So today, if you type in explanation pattern, it should come up with a link to the book that we are using in today's video. But don't worry, if you don't have the book, you're going to get the measurements because this is a book and it's pretty much like a reference thing, and all the numbers are stuff that you would use anyway. So, but if you want the book, it does have lots of blocks and quilt ideas and so on and so forth in it. And today we are going to make this. Except we're going to make this, today's version, in black, pink, and white. Right here. If you go in the description of the video, you will see all the supplies you need, but I will tell you out loud.
Plus, there's a link to the book in the description.
And there's a link to the book in the description if you want to buy the book. And if you do buy the book, it helps us out just a little bit. Let's get that page to stay. Anyway, so I wrote out the pattern itself and how many pieces and parts and yardage we'll need to make this project on the wall. So for your background, let's see if I can't just like put a ruler on that to stay open. For the background, you need 2/3 of a yard. I have 2/3 of a yard of a tone on tone. So it's not just plain white, but you guys can't see the tone on tone because, well, you know, it's not seeable. Then for my dark fabric, which is this fabric and my border fabric. So the dark fabric, technically you can use 2 contrasting colors, whatever you want, but I'm just calling it dark. So for my dark fabric, you need 1/2 a yard. And for my medium fabric, 1/2 a yard. So your background is 2/3 of a yard, and then your dark and your medium each need 1/2 a yard of fabric. And then we will start cutting already because this does take 2 hours to make. Of course, as you can see, I made a sample yesterday, so I know that I can do this in 2 hours with Scott's help. So I'm going to go ahead now and start. Yep, Scott gets the iron today because he already did it yesterday. He knows what I want and how I'm doing things. So I'm going to turn the camera down so you can just watch the cutting. And I will tell you everything you need to cut along the way. So like I said, if you don't have the book or whatever, you will still have the measurements to the wall hanging. Anything else you have to do on your own. All right, so I have my background I'm going to start with. I'm going to straighten up one edge. Make sure I get all the layers when I do this. I'm going to have a rotary cutter. Line everything up and make a cut. Now it's nice and straight. Woohoo! Turn it around. And I am going to cut, where are we at? My background color is, hold on, I got to remember what it was again. A, B, and C. All right, so I labeled these A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So from A, B, and C are my background. I'm going to cut one strip that's 3 1/4. 3 1/4. One strip that's 3 1/4. Then I'm going to cut one 2.5 inch strip. one 2.5-inch strip, and 1, 2, 3, where am I at? 3 1.5-inch strips. 1, 2. We're just pre-cutting everything out instead of cutting while you go kind of thing. 3. So 1 3 1/4 strip, 1 2.5-inch strip, 3 1.5-inch strips. I'm going to line this up and we're going to cut 1 10.5-inch strip. So just lining it up on a line. I'm going to come over to 10.5 inches and make my cut. This I'm going to set aside because I don't need it right now. I don't think I need it at all anymore. All right, set all this aside. And we're going to start with the 3 1/4-inch strip. We're going to go ahead and subcut that to 5 3 1/4-inch squares. 5 3 1/4-inch squares. Where am I at? 1, 3, 4. Lift it and get my 5th. 3 1/4. So there's my 5 3 1/4-inch squares. It's a tone on tone, so I'm going to turn them right side up because, well, I struggle with tone on tone, which you already know. Then we're going to cut 2.5-inch strip. Open this up. And I'm going to cut 5 2.5-inch squares. 1 2 3 4 5. Turn everything right side up because or else I will mess things up. Set aside. And now I'm going to cut my 1.5-inch strips. Just stacking them all up. And we're going to cut 80 1.5-inch squares. That's 80 1.5-inch squares. 80. I'm going to grab a smaller ruler for all this. You pretty much cut the whole thing up. To get 80. That's 14 cuts if you have your full length selvage to selvage on your strips. All right, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. Yeah, I didn't get no 14 from that. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13. And I'm just going to cut these because actually I'll just cut from here my 2.5-inch strip. My fabric wasn't full length because the selvage and stuff was like a whole 1.5 inches was cut off this, so I lost size and didn't even know it. 1 2 3 4. There we go. Sorry, if you have full length strip like I did when I did my tester, you'll have plenty to cut. These I'm not going to turn right side up right now because I'll just do that while I'm sewing. And then I'm not going to cut my 10.5-inch strip till we're ready because I lost what piece was what yesterday when I was doing that. Go figure. So I'm just going to set it aside. Now we're going to move on to the dark. Let me remind you on the white real quick, or background. You got a 3 1/4 inch strip, a 2 1/2 inch strip, and 3 1 1/2 inch strips, and 1 10 1/2 inch strip. From your 3 1/4 inch strip, you get 5 3 1/4 inch squares, 5 2 1/2 inch squares, and 80 1 1/2 inch squares. Now your D and E is going to be the dark. Your colors D and E is dark fabric. So right now we're cutting D. I'm going to cut one. Where am I at? Dark. 1 3 1/4 inch strip. 1 3 1/4 inch strip. And 1 2 1/2 inch strip. All right, stay right there, ruler. 1 3 1/4 inch and 1 2 1/2 inch strip. We're going to open up our 3 1/4 inch strip, and we're going to subcut it into 5 3 1/4 inch squares. 2, 3, 4. Open it up, get my 5th. 5 3 1/4 inch squares of my dark, or letter D. Then my 2 1/2 inch strip, which is letter E, we're going to cut 20. So don't toss aside your 3 1/4 because we're going to cut it down. That way we're not wasting anything, because there's a lot of waste with what I did. But I'm making it work. So you're going to get 16 from here, and then you're going to cut off 4 2 1/2 inch strips from that to get 20 2 1/2 inch strips. I meant 2 1/2 on that. Sorry. 1 2. Let's just grab this.
It's not like the waste fabric.
3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14 15 16. I'm going to set that aside, and we're going to go ahead and cut the 3 1/4 inch strip down so that we can get 4 more 2 1/2 inch squares. So I'm going to go ahead and just cut off of here 2 1/2 inches. I just cut by 5 inches on the fold. 2 3 and 4. So that makes 22 1/2 inch squares from the dark. I'm just going to set that aside, and I'm going to set this aside because we're going to cut 3 2 1/2 inch strips from it later for our border. So I'm just going to set it aside for now. And now we're going to grab our medium fabric, and this is letters F and G. Oops, wrong ruler. Let's go to this one. I'm going to straighten it up, and then we're going to cut 1 3 1/4 inch strip. And I covered my numbers. Let me pull that back out. And 1 1 1/2 inch strip. 1 1 1/2 inch strip. All right. We are going to cut off of our 3 1/4 inch strip. We're going to cut 10 3 1/4 inch squares. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to set that aside because I don't need that now. 10 3 1/4 inch squares. And then from your G, which is your 1.5 inch strip, we're going to cut 20 1.5 inch squares. Actually, I need to cut a little bit further because salvage is right there. 20 1.5 inch squares. And in a few days, Karen will graciously have written this all out. So if you're part of the Facebook group, you can get it in a PDF. Just give her a few days. What did I say? 20. Woo-wee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So there's 20 1.5 inch squares for our letter G. And then this I'm going to set aside so that I can cut 3 2.5 inch strips off of it for binding. Or you can do a double a double border, which would be this first, then your other one. It's all up to you how you want to do it. I might do that with this one. We'll see. But there's enough there to do that. So you can choose whatever one you want for your border. All right. Now for piecing. I'm going to go ahead now. Oh, I want these right here. These 2.5 inch squares that are E, which is the dark fabric, but letter E. I'm going to go ahead now and we are going to take our background, which are our 1.5 inch strips, letter C, which have 80 1.5 inch squares, and we are going to snowball all the corners. So I'm going to stick this on here, and I'm going to sew from corner to corner and snowball all 20 of these with all 80 of these because you get one for each corner. So we're going to go ahead and do that. I'll bring the camera over to the machine so that you can watch that be done. And I'll set this over here.
What size did that wall hang from?
The wall hanging is 22 inches square. So I'm going to go ahead now and we're going to come over to the sewing machine. Right here. So that you guys can watch that because a lot of people want to see that. And if the camera wiggles, it's only because I'm at my chair on this mat. All right, snowballing corners. If you've never done it before, you're going to take your 1.5 inch square, your 2.5 inch square, and you're going to place right sides together on one of the corners. And for now, because we're going to do all 4 corners, and you're going to sew from, oops, it would be nice to have the proper stitch length because I was doing other stuff this morning. All right, so I'm going to sew from one corner to the other. If you have seam tape, which is what you see right here on my machine, that actually is so helpful. Just sew from corner to corner. You don't have to draw a line. So I'm going to do my best to pay attention to make sure that these squares are going correctly, right sides together. And just sewing from corner to corner. And if you need to make sure that when you put this on here, and you want to make sure that it's going to land properly like this, some people will tell you to sew just a hair. So if you're going to sew from this corner to this corner, sew just a hair over stitch-wise, and you should be able to get like the perfect flip. I've never noticed a difference. Mine come out wonky. Everybody that I know comes out wonky, so what does it matter? Anyway, so I'm just going to go ahead now and sew all these up. If you have questions, ask them, and Scott will ask them to me while I try to pay attention to make sure that I have my tone-on-tone facing the proper direction. This one's a little bit easier to see than other tone-on-tones that I do, but you know. Oops, that's the right side right here. Get right there in the corner. These little squares are a little bit harder, but if you get the book, with the book, you'll be able to do bigger size squares. I'm just doing these 6.5 inch unfinished squares. We're making 5 of them. So all the measurements I have given you are for 5 6.5-inch unfinished squares, or if you want to call it the finished number, it's 6-inch finished blocks. And they're really cute too. Comes out. I love the look of this little wall hanging. Trust me, it looks amazing. And I can't wait to see what it looks like in these colors. I have a feeling it's going to be awesome.
Well, they've seen the one on the wall behind you.
Yeah. No, I meant this colorway.
Well, yeah, but it does look amazing. We've seen that one, so it'll look just as cool, if not cooler, in these colors. I like it.
Yeah, I love these colors. Black and pink. Amazing color combo. I figured I got to do something other than the color purple, you know? And I'm warming up to the color brown, so the other one looks amazing.
It's country. Can't go wrong with country.
Nope, can't go wrong with country. You can turn the iron on, because I'm going to cut all these and I'm almost done sewing them on.
No, I can't turn the iron on.
Plug it in on this side. Plug it in on that side.
Oh, I didn't know I could do that.
Yep, it works over there too. I don't know. Some of these look like they're right side, wrong side. I don't know. That one kind of looked like it was wrong side, but yeah. I'll take this one off and re-sew it because it's on the wrong side up. And even though it won't be too visible, I'm still going to fix it anyway, just because. Takes 2 seconds. It's only a 1.5-inch square, so it doesn't need much. I'm just going to turn it around and put it the proper direction. Right sides together. And one more. And before I sew it, let's turn it over because now it's right side. I will check them all before I cut them. All right, snippy snip. That's correct, correct, correct. Correct, 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 correct. All right, next step is to just cut away the excess and give yourself a 1/4-inch seam. And then I'm just going to throw them over there for Scott to start pressing because the faster we get all these 4 corners on, the better. And I'm just guesstimating my 1/4-inch seam. I'm so used to doing this that I'm pretty good at getting it good. And almost 1/4-inch. I do have the shake, so I have to do that trick where I hold the scissors on a finger to make the cut so that I'm not shaking, because yesterday I didn't do it on 2 pieces and actually cut into them accidentally. It was a good thing that, you know, these are snowballed corners, because or else I would have ruined my block if not. All right, I don't need any of these little pieces, so they're going, yeah, just, no, try to press them to the dark, please. Just do this.
Like that, then, you mean?
Yes, please.
Okay. I can do it. Go away.
I'm going to flip these.
So man, I've already done the wrong way?
No, can you please flip it?
I'm trying.
I'm pressing these to the dark.
You said
Yesterday,
no,
I
so
used the
that
dark.
means it doesn't matter. If you'd have said yes, then that would have meant it didn't matter. See? You're confusing.
Yesterday, I did a dark background, so I just pressed towards the background. But today, I'm not. I'm using a white background, so I'm pressing to the dark.
Okay, there. Did it from the back side. You got it. Oh, I got this.
I know I'm speeding it along. That way, all you have to do is go over them, because it's going to take. Remember, 2 hours. We're trying to stay under 2 hours.
Yeah, so go. I already got your bunch done.
All right. Oop, there's another one right here. He's just going to keep tossing them to me as we go. So now one side is pressed towards the dark. I'm going to go ahead and repeat on the opposite corner. I'm going to make sure right sides together, putting it on the opposite corner now, and I'm going to repeat that same chain piecing of I hate when I'm on camera. A stupid machine. Piecing the I hate the machine when it's on camera. Just go, you dumb thing. All right. Let's right side that way. Remember, if you type in explanation pattern, it will take you to a link to the book. You can click on that if you would like to order the book, and it helps us out a little bit.
Yeah, the book's for sale. Lots of places.
Yeah, the book is for sale at lots of places, but we just put one that is part of our program that helps us make a little bit of money for promoting said products. That doesn't look correct. That looks correct. Nope, that was correct. Oy, oy, oy. Trying to keep this tone on tone. Now you know why I like using solid fabric most times, but this was on the shelf and it looked pretty because it has little flowers on it, which match the black fabric really nicely. There's the little flowers. You don't see them from far away anyway, so it really doesn't matter, honestly. You really got to be looking up close at tone on tones. If you don't have seam tape and you didn't draw your line, it's really easy to just hold these and aim from one corner to the other. If you've never done this before. Only on these small ones though. The bigger the block, the harder it is to snowball because you really need a line of some sort or some kind of direction. But these smaller ones are a lot easier. So at this time, we are currently piecing C squares, the 1.5, to our E squares, which are our 2.5 inch dark. Oh, I think I did that wrong again. I sure did. Around, do that again. It's correct now.
ready for me to start cutting the others? I can cut them more.
You mean cut away the excess?
No, I meant cut out in between.
Oh, yeah, separate them, sure.
Yeah, you need to do that. That's what I'm saying. Give me this purple thing.
Yeah.
Do this one.
All right, same procedure. I'm going to go ahead and snip away the excess. You don't have to do this by scissor if you don't trust it. You could go over to your cutting mat and, you know, do it that way with the rotary cutter and a ruler and measure over, but scissors I think work just great.
Look at that teamwork.
And then again, they're going to get pressed towards the dark. So I'm just going to pass them over to Scott. He could start pressing.
We get done, Tiffany. We get done.
All right, and again, I'm just going to discard these because they're too small. And while I'm waiting on him to iron, I might as well pre-finger press these so that they're ready to be smushed down properly. Just pressing them towards the dark. Okay, next corner. Now that you have this, I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same steps, but now in the opposite corners again. I'm going to line this up. So from corner to corner. Did I lose my thread again? Yes, I did. Can't work in the actual area here while on live stream because it just never works. Never works, ever. I was doing stuff this morning and had not one problem. As soon as this camera is on and I'm working right here in this space, then it starts getting all messed up. I'm waiting for more pieces. Sorry.
Oh, you should have said something. I got a pile here. I got a pile here. I didn't know you was ready.
Yep. It's gonna continue on.
I got
Oops, I already had those flipped right side down. they don't for you, they do for me. You're just holding them wrong, I think, or using them the wrong way.
They don't like me. They say they're your scissors, not mine. Mine are over there somewhere. I don't even know where. That's why.
Once these are done, the rest of it is a little bit faster. This is the part that takes the longest. That's why I started with these blocks
Hey, you're
instead
going a lot
of
quicker than yesterday.
started with these so that way the other ones go a little bit quicker. All we have left is 20 more after this. 20 more to go through the sides again. So I'm just gonna snip. And I could wait for, do the other side and then cut, but I'm not doing that. Just doing one side at a time. Oops, I did not mean to do that, but whatever.
Didn't we learn yesterday that actually ironing the seams open was the best?
Yeah, yesterday. If you want to iron your seams open, go ahead and do that. It would probably be best for this project because it's going to be pretty thick when we go to put the blocks together. That's only because we're using smaller blocks. If we were doing bigger blocks, it probably wouldn't be as bad. So if you would want to press your seams open, go ahead and do that instead of pressing to the dark. I'm just not a seam opener presser.
Seam opener presser. I like
Yep,
that.
I'm not a seam opener presser. I just do my seams how I feel like doing my seams.
That's a mouthful. Seam opener presser.
All right, fourth side, literally just putting it on here. This whole thing should still be 2.5 inches when you're done. A 2.5 inch square when you're done. Oops, throwing things. And I just did it, didn't I? Yep, did it again. It's a good thing I have a seam ripper right here next to me. Correct way, which is not how it is. not the machine. It's just the way I sew, apparently. Nope, that's not correct. This is correct. I'm really putting Scott to work today and yesterday because we did this yesterday as well.
I like helping my Tiffany.
But he likes helping, so that's a plus.
I like working for the boss. She gives great benefits.
I'm not saying that one out loud or repeating anything you just said, mister.
It wasn't bad.
It was bad.
No, it wasn't.
I know.
No,
These
no,
fans of ours in the chat, they'll probably get a chuckle out of it, but you know.
It wasn't. Yeah.
TMI. Although I talk about TMI stuff way too often anyway,
Yeah,
so I guess it really doesn't matter what I say.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why does that one not look right? Nope, that is. Okay, good.
It ain't right.
All right, couple more left. Pretty sure I cut 80, but why does my one pile look less than my other pile? I don't know. That's just how it happens. No, there's plenty.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I had plenty. Good. 2 left over. All right.
Shoot it up.
Snippy, snippy.
Which way? I keep trying to put them the way. Look there. I'll just make you another pile. Trying to put them the way you have it with the pile.
All right, after these are done, we're going to move on to brain fart. Hold on.
The next stage.
The next step is to do this similar thing all over again, but with different letters, which I'm looking right now to see what they are. Our B squares that are 2.5 inches, and we cut 5 of them, and our G squares where we have 20 1.5 inch squares is what we're going to grab, and we're going to do the same procedure. So B 2.5 inch background squares, and our G, which is our medium color 1.5 inch squares. Now we're going to do that same procedure. I'll put these, there's 5 of them. Right side up. Right here. Now I'm going to snowball these corners. Same thing, just different colors. I'm making sure one more time before I even sew anything that these are in the correct position. There's only 5 of these, so this part shouldn't take any longer, you know, than our original. And these ones I'm going to press towards the pink, or my medium color. And while I'm literally right here, I'm just going to go ahead, put the opposite side on if I can keep my pieces right here. That way I cut 2 sides off. And again, with the thread. This is the part that slows me down, rethreading this machine. Trying this again. All right. Again, we're making ourselves a 22-inch wall hanging. You can make yours however big you want, obviously. But this is just what we're doing here. All right, cut away the excess. Garbage over there. Again, these are going to get pressed towards the pink. Or my, you know, medium color, whatever color you're using. All right, Scott's still ironing, so I'm just going to go ahead and do these.
I got you a whole bunch done. What do you mean? What are you ready for me to iron next? I didn't know you had more.
These when I'm done with them. You can take a second.
Well, this last side won't iron down right. And we don't have the other sides, so I have to iron the front and back. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do know what you mean.
They're all here, I can cut these apart for you, huh?
No, because I'm chain piecing.
You're just going to have me iron all 4 sides at once?
Yep.
It would be easier if you didn't. Okay.
And again, these will be 2.5-inch squares again. They should not be changing in size.
You ever use leaders and enders?
I don't use leaders and enders only because I chain piece a lot, so there's no purpose in it for me.
Jukies unthread a lot.
Huh?
Do Jukies unthread a lot?
This Juki unthreads a lot. That's only because of the way I sew. If you start off slow and don't pedal to the metal it, then you should be just fine. But I'm a pedal to the metal kind of person, and I, you know, should not be, but I am. It's just the way I sew. So, plus I work a lot in this area, and it will blow the thread out of the needle. It does that quite often. So it doesn't even have to be the way I sew. Sometimes it's just the fact that I have a lot of stuff going on right here where I'm sitting. Again, just finger pressing these towards the pink fabric. And we'll send them over to get a real pressing, and we'll get started on the next block. And again, these should be 2.5 inches at this point.
They're cute.
All right, there's those.
There's those.
Next block is going to be, next blocks, plural, all of your 3 1/4 inch squares. You have a bunch of 3 1/4 inch squares. So I have 5 of my dark 3 1/4 inch squares. I have 5 of my background 3 1/4 inch squares. I'm just going to make sure that they're all right side up, because I have problems with that. And then you have 10 of your 3 1/4 inch squares of your F fabric or your medium fabric. I'm just going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are going to go with this. So 5 of my medium are going to go with your dark, and the other 5 are going to go with your light. 3, 4, and 5. We're going to make hourglass blocks. So I'm going to take all 5 of these. I'm going to put right sides together. I'm going to sew on both sides of a drawn line. I don't have a drawn line, but I do have seam tape. So on both sides of my drawn line, which again, I'm not drawing because, there's no need when you have seam tape, because you just use your black lines on the outside. If you were sewing a half square triangle where you wanted to keep it the same size, you would line up your point to point on the, on the center line. But when you're doing both sides of a drawn line, you would line it up with the black lines on the way up. All right, I'm going to do the same procedure now with these. I'm just going to slide them all through. Make sure one more time that these are right sides up, because, no, because I'm chain sewing. No cutting apart, please. Nope. Oh, come on, line up. Yep. Exactly. Time. Now, all I'm going to do is flip it around and sew on the opposite side of my invisibly drawn line, again, lining it up with the black line on my seam tape. And I'm just going to go down every single one of these, sewing on both sides of your drawn line. And I'm out of bobbin. 2 seconds.
It's running away.
Yeah, the bobbin is running away. Need a new one.
Have you ever made an illusion quilt that looks like blocks wearing names?
I have not made the maze style illusion quilts. I did strings of illusion though, which is it gives you an illusion when laid out a certain way, made from scraps. right, so next step is to snip them apart and then cut from corner to corner, which would be, you know, cutting on your drawn line. But of course, I didn't draw a line. So we're going to snip them apart from corner to corner. I'm just going to go over and cut them over here on the side. You can still see over there. And then I'm going to have Scott press them. So you can probably see over here, but I'm snipping them in half from corner to corner. And then I'm going to have him press these to the pink, please. And then the other ones you're going to press towards the dark.
Okay.
The black ones with the black.
Yeah.
So the next pile that I'm going to give you, not this pile, but this next pile, you're going to press towards the dark.
So you want it that way?
Yes, please.
Gotcha. Get her done.
Okay, once they're all cut, you'll have what looks like this, which is a half square triangle at this point. I'm going to go ahead and just finger press. These are going to go to the dark, and the ones with the white background, I'm going to go towards the pink.
That finger could open them, I'd be done already.
And if you're using a 1/4 inch seam, everything that we're doing should come out the correct size when done, and you shouldn't have to trim, but I have a ruler ready if I need to. So far, I'll bring it to the camera so you can see. So far, we have this combination, which was your C fabric and your E fabric. And then we have this combination, which is your G fabric and your B fabric.
So you didn't need to finger press these. I know which side's black. Goofy.
And now we're working on the half square triangles, which I can't really do anything about at this moment until I get the other pieces from Scott.
Hey, you got about 10 here. You can get going.
All right. Next step, we're going to take these with the F and the D. Okay, so your medium and your dark. And we're going to place them with your F and your A fabric. We're going to put these opposite, oops, where am I at? Yep, opposite side. Oh, look at that. I should have pressed it towards the pink. What a dum-dum. Hey, can we repress these towards the pink? I didn't even think about that.
Okay.
I forgot because I'm nesting this seam.
Okay. Use the one that finger pressed them, Goofy.
Yeah.
I would have done it however you need it.
Yeah, it's my fault.
It's okay. I will get her done. I will get her done.
Here, let me do it real quick because I'm quick. You can
Well,
take
they
care
might
of
need to be
chat.
pressed on both sides.
Sorry, guys. That I didn't even think about that. We're pressing them all towards the pink at this moment. Because I had a brain fart. Go figure. But that happens in quilting, brain farts, you know? It's quite common. So that the seams nest. I need the seams to nest.
rule of thumb is always go towards the dark. It's weird.
It's a good thing there's not a whole heck of a lot of these that I pressed opposite the wrong way.
It'll make sense once I get it sealed together. Huh?
Yep, it'll make sense once they're sewn together. Because I had a brain fart and, you know.
Yeah, see, a lot of them got to do side. You want me to do? I can do it. You go sew. Go sew. I got it.
Okay. Since I had my brain fart, sorry guys. These need to be pressed towards the pink or my medium fabric, and these need to be pressed towards the medium fabric because I brain farted because they are going in opposite directions. So now these seams are in opposite directions. One's going this way, one's going that way. And I'm going to nest the seam, as in you could fill them, click together. And now we're going to go through and sew on both sides of our drawn line again. I'm going to go ahead and line it up and not sew because the thread came out again. Got all this stuff up here I don't need. I just need a threader. All right, let's re-nest that seam again. All right, sewing on both sides of a drawn line again. If you want to pin these together first, oops, whew, brain fart again. Nest it together. If you want to sew these first or draw your line and pin them, that's up to you. I'm just gonna sew and hope they stay nested. Oops, wrong side. So again, they're in opposite sides, like this. Opposite sides.
So anyway, when you're long arm quilting and you make a mess on the back, but you don't know until the quilt is off, then you take the mess off. How do you re-stitch so it doesn't continue to unthread?
Okay, what?
When you're long arm quilting and you make a mess on the back, but you don't know it until the quilt is off, then you pick the mess off. How do you re-stitch so it doesn't continue to unthread?
Okay, here's the secret to that question. If you stitch on the long arm and you're done and you didn't know you had a mess underneath, before you remove the quilt off of the long arm, you can roll it back and forth in full as it's quilted, and you can check that whole entire back before you pull it off the long arm. I have learned over the years you have to check. So Scott and I thoroughly check quilts. He helps me thoroughly check to see if the tension got off and I didn't see it, or if we had a mess up or something. We thoroughly check the quilt before pulling it off. That way you don't have to worry about trying to fix it off the frame as opposed to being on the frame. And if you missed something and you need to restitch it, just bring the quilt over to your sewing machine after you've picked it. Bring it over to your sewing machine, load it into your throat space, and just use your sewing machine to stitch it. But I highly, highly, highly recommend don't remove your quilt off of your long arm until it is finished. As in fully checked and everything. You need to just look it over completely. Again, I'm putting these right sides together. The pink is on opposite sides. And this is what we're getting out of it, by the way, is an hourglass block. I'm just nesting those seams. I can fill it nicely and sewing on both sides of my drawn line or by using my seam tape. And this is going to give us 2.5-inch squares, hopefully. Like I said, yesterday I was like having issues with it, you know, but some of them were like this. See, this one's sticking out bigger. Like I've been sewing with that same 1/4-inch seam. So there might be something that needs to be trimmed, but it shouldn't need to be. I only had to trim a few yesterday. All right, one side is done, so you can see this is what we're doing. I'm going to go now and stitch the opposite side of my drawn line. Oh, nope, nope. That seemed to stay down. Gotta watch it. One. Now I'm gonna snip them apart, go over and snip them in from corner to corner. And then I'm going to, before I do anything, grab my Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer or any triangle ruler or any way you would like to trim. If you want to just press them, then trim. But I'm gonna do the Clearly Perfect slotted trimmer real quick.
Yesterday?
Yes.
When you said you didn't need today?
Yes.
Okay. With the half-inch mark?
All right, we're going to take the camera back to where it goes.
The half-inch mark ones?
Yes.
That one?
Yeah, and you can
I'll
just
move the camera.
carefully move the camera back around.
I'll get it. I'm going to show them the one on the wall.
Oh, he's going to show you the one on the wall while I start this. Just snipping them apart now, corner to corner, and then I'm going to trim them to 2.5 inches. Like I said, they will be pretty much on 2.5 inches if you had the 1/4 inch seam correct, which I tend to mess up all the time, but
Not all the time. You do well.
I mean, whatever, I do okay.
Oh.
This should have given you 20 hourglass blocks. All right, just gonna line this up on my 2.5 inch line. Like I said, it's pretty much the size it needs to be. I don't even need to trim them. I'm just gonna trim the dog ears because it's the same as yesterday. They're exactly the size they need to be. They came out perfect. Yeah, I don't even need to do that. That's why I didn't want to use that ruler today, because these came out. I'm just going to trim the dog ears off and then send them over to Scott to start pressing.
Are you ready?
Yeah, press towards this piece like that.
Hold on, what? Taking that way?
Away from the white.
Yeah,
yes.
goes in this way.
Yes, please.
Okay.
I'm going to just have him press it away from the background fabric because it's white. And I'm just going to trim all these dog ears off.
that?
Yes, please.
All right, we got it. Get her, got her.
I'm just going to use scissors for this because rotary cutting takes too long. Just pre-taking the dog ears off now. And then he's pressing. Kind of goes a little bit easier, you know.
Missed a dog ear on this one. Do you want it back?
I'll get it when it's pressed. Where did I miss it?
That's why I said, do you want it back? I did press it. I did.
All right, all of our parts and pieces are made. We just need to lay out all of our pieces and sew them into blocks. We're only making 5 blocks, so all this work for 5 blocks.
It's a lot of work, but it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's going to be awesome.
It looks
An hour so far?
Yes, 1 hour.
I'm going to trim this one. That one definitely looked a little bit bigger than it was supposed to. All right, let's toss the confetti into the garbage. Move that ruler. Put the scissors where they go. And I'm going to lower the camera so that you can see me lay these out. Just got to put it a little high.
See it all.
All right. The G and oh my goodness, what one is this? The B and G pieces are our center. There should be 5 of these. These are our center blocks. I'm just going to stack them all up. Then your E and your C pieces are going to go in 4 corners. We're going to stack 5 per corner. 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because we're going to chain piece this whole thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Then we have our hourglass units that were made from all of our 3 1/4 from both sets. So all of our A, D, and F pieces were made here. We're going to put this dark piece towards the center. So our word, I'm looking for the letter. The E piece, no, D. The D color, which is your dark, is going towards the center. We're going to put 5 in each pile. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, and 5. And here's the block. Okay, there's the block. I'm going to go ahead and sew these through. I'm going to just tilt the camera so you can watch from the back end. I'm just going to chain piece all of these, this row, and then I'm going to go through and chain piece all of this. And then I'll separate the whole thing in sets of 3. So I'm going to go ahead now. Everything should be exactly 2.5 inch squares. All of this is 2.5 inch squares, which is going to give us a 6.5 inch unfinished block. I'm going to slide this down here. I'm going to tilt the camera so that you can watch how I chain piece all the blocks at one time. Oh, just put it right here. And you can just look at me while I do this.
Look at me, look at me.
All eyes on me. All right, so I'm going to take the top 2, put them right sides together with a 1/4 inch seam, which I'm going to give myself right now, 1/4 inch seam, right sides together, sew them through. Then I'm going to go to the second, which is the middles. Put those right sides together. I'm avoiding, I'm going to point this out real quick. Hopefully it's going to show on the camera. Right here, you have a cross seam. I'm going to stitch right up to where it crosses and creates that X right there. I'm going to stitch right up to it, but not it. That way we can keep our points, although I didn't keep all the points in that either. So I'm just showing you if you want to be perfect about it. So it should be a 1/4 inch. And now I'm going to go and grab the third one. It's the same with these. If you want to make sure you're getting that crosshair section exact, then, you know, but I've never been too worried about that. So I did 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to start from the top again. Line it up. 1, Grab the next. 2, grab the bottom. 3, go back to the top again until I have all 5 blocks worth of the first and second column sewn. And if you type in explanation pattern, you will get a link to, the book if you want to purchase it that way. Again, it can be found anywhere online, but that site helps with my, support my channel ever so slightly. It does, but again, ever so slightly.
Yeah, it's not much.
It's not much, but
better than nothing.
Best way to support my channel is to, buy things, purchase. It doesn't cost you anything to use these links anyway, so. But
well, watching the commercials.
Watching the commercials, and if you're purchasing stuff, using my links. All right, so I'm coming up on the last from the first row. Up. Now, I'm going to go right back to the top again. I'm going to finger press the top piece over to the whatever direction my hand left. Then the next one's going to go right, then left, then right, then left, then right, the whole way down. But while I'm doing that, I'm going to start from the top. I'm at the top, top. Put 1, 2, 3, and then go back to the top again. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2. What'd you say name? I can't read it. Maryland. Thank you very much, Maryland. Kindly appreciated. All right, so again, I'm just pressing left, right, left, right. So left, right, left, all the way down. So now I'm starting from the top again. And this is how I chain piece multiple blocks at a time. Back to the top. Oh no, this one's the bottom. No, that's the top because that's that. So back to the top again. Sometimes I get confused, especially when I'm talking with you guys online or answering questions and stuff. Wouldn't really matter even though, because technically I just have to choose the correct piece for the next one, which isn't hard to do because there's only 3 different styles of blocks here. Top again. Middle. I probably should have trimmed these blocks because, again, some of these got wonky. Just trim all your squares. Make sure that all of your squares are trimmed to 2.5 inch before you start putting them together. Because I'm one of those just line it up and it'll work kind of persons. So I know that that's 1/8 of an inch bigger on one way. So I'm going to do that same exact thing on the opposite end. Either way, it still works out. Well, for me at least. As long as I have a 1/4 inch seam, that's all that matters. And even if I didn't, as long as it's bigger than 1/8 of an inch seam, you're good. And the last one. I lost a couple of my points, but that's okay. All right, so right, left, right, because I'm going the opposite now, and then snip. Every 3 pieces is 1 block. Right, left, right, snip. Block number 2. Right, left, right, block 3. Because I'm not pressing it this time right now. I'm just sewing everything together and it'll get chain pressed and chain pieced, obviously. And finger press these, right, left, right. And now I just need to hook them together because they're not out of order. Everything looks good. So I'm going to go with these rows, right sides together. I'm going to nest my seams, which should all be in opposite directions. Line everything up. And sew. Go ahead, open that up. I'm just going to press up and away from the center. Grab this other side, again, still attached. Right sides together, sew it. Nesting my seams along the way. And I'm going to press away from the center. And here is my unpressed block. I'm going to send it over to Scott so that he can press it nice and flat for me. Okay, repeat.
Okay, let me do the whole thing.
All right, so I'm just going to line everything up. Press away from the center. Ooh, I really lost the point on that one, but I'm leaving it because I am not worried. This is not a show quilt. This is just going to hang on the wall. And from far away, you'll never know anyway. If I was really, really off, then I would be worried about it, but this is barely. All right, block number 2 sewn. I'm getting pressed. Block number 3. Like I said, we're only making 5 blocks. If you want to make more, then you'll have to figure out the math when you buy the book. Okay, next. Nesting my seam. Finger press away from another block. No, I did not. I forgot. That's why I reminded them, trim your blocks to 2.5 inches. Your singular blocks before you make the big block. All your parts and pieces need to be trimmed. Just in case, because these blocks right here get wonky when you snowball the corners, and I got lazy again, and I told myself today I would trim it all, but I did not. So that's my own stupidity, but that's okay. It's working out. I know how to align things if it's not correct, but if you're a beginner, just trim. Trim it all. Make sure it's the correct size. One more. And then we can lay this out. Well, we got to cut our other pieces, and then we're going to lay it out and put it together. And if you press your seams open, like I was saying earlier, you might have better results, you know, when it comes to seams. Being kind of on the thick side. I'm just not an open seam presser, but a lot of you are, so go ahead and do that with this block. All right, here's that. I'm going to go ahead and grab that 10.5-inch strip that we cut off of our background, which does not have a letter. I'm just going to tilt you this way now. About right there, I think. All right, so I'm going to grab this 10.5-inch piece. Again, it had no letter. That was just the last cut that we needed because this is for the layout of the quilt. I'm going to go ahead and trim the selvage off. We're going to line this up on a line, and I'm going to cut 10.5 inches. I need just one 10.5-inch. One 10.5-inch square. One 10.5-inch square, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that on the diagonal both directions. One, and very carefully, two. So my 10.5-inch square cut both directions on the diagonal, and I need to turn these right sides up or I'm going to mess things up. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. And then we're going to cut two 7.5-inch strips. What was it? 7-inch strips. Sorry, two 7-inch strips. I knew it was one of those numbers. I had to look at my thing. So two 7-inch squares. So there's, oops. There's a ding in my cutting mat that gets skipped about right here. I'm going to line that back up. Cut another 7-inch strip off here. 5, 6, 7. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and make 7-inch squares, two of them. Just going to line that up. Cut 7-inch squares. So place this aside because I don't need that. And then we're going to cut them on the diagonal one time. One time. Just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and set those aside. We're going to grab our blocks. We're going to lay them out as follows. One in the center. Oh, let's trim these to 6.5 inches just to be on the safe side. Where's my square? Oh, it's holding the book down. That's what.
We left it out.
Yeah, see, it got wonky. I'm going to trim all these real quick because they got wonky. I knew they would because I didn't trim like I've been telling you guys to do. So trim your blocks because mine is a little wonky. I'm going to lose points this way because I probably should have trimmed first. But again, it's just a wall hanging and it's just to be fun. Just pre-do everything properly. Don't follow my messed up lead. Yep, I've lost all the points now because I didn't pre-trim. That's my own fault. And that's okay. And I'm sorry for that, guys. Oh man, that one's seriously wonktified. I even lost the point altogether.
Wonky's good. It adds to the beauty.
Yep, wonky gives it character, I guess. All right, here we go. One center, up and down like this because we are on point. And now you're going to go ahead and lay 4 blocks around that. So now you should have something that looks like this. Then your 10.5-inch square that you cut on the diagonal both ways, you're going to insert here, here, there, and there. So right now I'm going to piece this because we still have these squares, but I'm going to just piece this first. This is on point. So this is a row, this is a row, and this is a row. So I'm going to go ahead, right sides together with this. Yeah, that looks like right sides together. I'm going to sew down this side, open it up, and then attach the opposite side. 1/4-inch seam. It would have probably been smart if I would have pressed the fold out of the fabric, but I didn't. So while I'm right here sewing, I'm just going to press it with my finger for now and grab this other side and sew it on the opposite side, like that. So now both flat sides should be going the same direction. And I gotta stop doing that. Oh, come on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and press this just towards the background. It's no big deal now at this point.
You want me to do that?
Nope, I got it. Place it back right here. We're going to sew the 3 of these together now. The seams should be they're not in opposite directions. So I'm going to flip that so that they are in opposite directions. One more time, I think. Oh, maybe they're not going to be. Go figure. Or maybe this one will be. Nope, it's not. It don't matter. Just sew them. Flip your seam if you must. If you have open seams, then you're doing better than I am at this point. I'm just going to flip the seam. It's no big deal when I press it. At least they'll be nested. All right, those 2 are sewn together. We're going to be pressing towards the center. So I'm pressing towards the center. Grab this side and sew that on, and then press that towards the center. Again, I'm going to press towards the center, right here. Oh man, that got so messed up right there, but I'm leaving it. I am not going to worry. I should have trimmed everything. That would have been a smart move, but all right, now for this, again, one side, then we'll add the other. So there's my one side, here's my other. Close that rotary cutter. I'm going to go ahead and press this towards my background, or the white. All right, on these ends, you're going to see that it's sticking out with a little bit of stick out. We're just going to trim that off on both of these. Just going to turn that, trim this, the little triangle excess dog ears off. Place it back right here. And now we're going to sew them together as rows. So this is going to go on and then this is going to go on. These are in opposite directions. So these two seams should nest opposite directions. They're nesting. I'm just going to go ahead and sew that. I'm going to go ahead now and press towards the background. What'd you say? Oh, I know. Yep, I did. I sure did look at the clock. I'm not worried. I'm hungry is what it is. Nope, I'm good. All right, place it back. I'm going to now attach this. Those seams should now be in opposite directions. Opposite directions. Sew along that. What are you stuck on? Oh, just a random thread that's hanging there. I have lost every point in mine, so don't judge. Just trim before you put your blocks together. It still looks cool either way. It's just not a very pretty up close. And if I was a beginner, I'd be proud of myself at this point because it's being put together. All right, I'm going to go ahead and trim off these dog ears on both sides. All right. Now we have here, here, and here, and here. So again, this is on point. You're going to grab your 7-inch cut in half one time pieces. I'm going to make sure I put it right here, there, and you can see they're oversized. There and there. They're oversized because we're going to be trimming down. We need the space to trim. All right, so when you put these on here, this is really easy to line up. You literally just line it up with the point right here. So when you go to put them on, right sides together like this, to center it, you don't even have to do anything. You just line up that right there. So I'm going to go ahead now and sew 1, 2, 3, and 4 on here. All these pieces. And just because I can, I will throw a pin to keep that on there while I'm sewing the rest, if that makes any sense. I'm just throwing a pin in. That way, while I'm sewing, they can all still be right here connected to the top. Oops, that was not center. Let's put that in the center. Again, it's lining up with the center. You'll see the triangles will match perfectly. Center.
What's the name of your ruler where the fabric doesn't move under it?
The name of the ruler where the fabric doesn't move under it is a Quilter's Select ruler. Quilter Select. That one's a 6.5 inch. Quilter Select brand. We couldn't find him, remember? You can find them on Amazon. You can find them on who knows where, everywhere, probably. Just my affiliate links really, I haven't found any. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and just sew all these on. I have them sewn on. I'm going to pull my pins out now because I didn't do it while sewing them. I just kind of sewed and removed pins after. I'm going to go ahead now and press towards the background. And while I'm at it, I'm going to just flatten this quilt as best as I can so that we can keep it nice and square. There should be no stretch around the outside edge. Everything is straight grain, so you don't have to worry about it stretching out of whack. You just need to make sure that it's flat. Because of the way we cut our background to fit here, this is straight right here, and these corners are straight right here. All right, now we're going to take this whole entire thing and trim it to 16 inches. I'm pretty sure. Where was my little... where's my thing that says trim to 16 inches? Pretty sure it was 16. Or is it 18? Nope, it's 18. We're trimming to 18 inches. I found it. Trim 18 inches. So I'm going to take this giant square ruler that I have that's 15 inches. Now I'm going to line it up right here and right there. And keep it right here. Go ahead. Trim. Trim. Turn. Line it up again. Line it up again. There, and there. Nice and straight. I may have to trim 1/8 of an inch off all the way around again. Again, we're trimming to 18 inches. If you want to use your cutting mat, then go ahead and do that. Center it on there to cut 18 inches. That's what I'm going to do after I trim it here to make sure that it landed at 18 inches, which it should have because, yeah. All right, so let's put it on my cutting mat over here real quick. Oh, it's just shy. So I'm going to trim real quickly 1/8 of an inch off. Here. Again, we're just trimming it to 18 inches. I'm literally just barely trimming anything off to get it to 18 inches. As you can see. I'll line it up now on my cutting mat. Ooh, right at 18, right at 18. Here we go. Do they? We've looked before, though. Okay, Fat Quarter Shop and, what'd you say? Connecting Threads has the Quilter Select rulers. And Scott's putting a link for both those sites. I gotta trim one more trim up here to complete my 18 inches. There we go. So now I have an 18-inch square. Now this next part is all 100% purely up to you. There's plenty of fabric to do this. You can, which what I'm going to do, even though I think it would be cute, you can take and cut off of here because you have plenty for binding as well. You can cut 3 1.5-inch strips and put those first, and then cut 3 2.5-inch strips from this as your second border, which I think I'm going to do on this one. Or you can just put this only as your border, only one border. You would cut 18 inches, and then you would cut 22 inches after you connect it. It would be 22 inches. But right now, I'm going to change that whole thing up by cutting 1.5-inch strips from here and do 2 borders on that. I think this will look cool, and then bind it again in this. I think that will look awesome. So I'm going to cut 3 1.5-inch strips. One. Because I gave you plenty of fabric to do all this. 2. That way this one's just a little bit different than the previous, and it'll be a different size. If you only use your dark fabric as your border at 2.5-inch border, and then this is binding, you will only get a 22-inch quilt. So now I have enough still left on here for binding. Mind you, my fat quarter was, or my half yard was probably a little bit bigger than it needed to be. All right, I need these now to be 2 at 18 inches. 2 of these are going to be 18 inches. And the other way is going to probably be 21. I don't know, but we're going to cut the 2 18, attach them, and make sure, because I didn't plan on doing this until just now with 2 borders. All right, I'm going to attach 1 on each side, and then we'll figure out what the top and bottom needs to be. But again, if you're just doing the 2.5-inch border only, then you need 2 18 by 2.5-inch pieces, and then that's for the sides, and then 2 22 by 2.5-inch pieces for the top and bottom. Two sides. I'm gonna like this with the second 2 borders instead of 1. I think it's going to be 20.5 inches. I'm not sure. I'm thinking right now, trying to do the quilt math in my head. Because I did not plan for 2 borders. Let's see. 20.5. Okay. So the other 2 1.5-inch strips are going to be cut at 20.5, and I might be able to get both from just 1 strip. So I would have only needed 2 strips in total. Because sometimes the fabric has plenty of room. Yep, 20.5 right there. Look at that. So this just going to go in my 1.5-inch strip bin because I don't need it. All right, attach top and bottom now. And then we'll cut the other one, the other fabric for the second border, which is going to be different now. So it's going to be 2 20.5-inch. And then it'll be 24 something. Oh, apparently that wasn't the right size. Slide that over, grab this one. That's 20 inches. I don't know why it measured at 20.5. Yep, 20 inches, okay. So it was 20 inches, not 20.5. I was probably just looking at the cutting mat wrong, because that happens all the time. Did I get what? Yes. And again, nothing should have stretched because you had around your block, you had straight edges. All right, so now I'm going to put this here, and we're going to cut 2.5-inch strips off of this. I just need 3 of them.
Getting bigger.
1, 2, and 3. So 2 of them are going to be 20. I need to cut 20 inches to start. Come over here and cut 20.
Are you doing another border on this one?
Yes, it's getting a second border, yes.
I think I'm going to like it with the second.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that we have both styles again. So there's plenty of fabric in what I gave fabric-wise to do this.
That looks pretty cool. Looking pretty cool.
And I think it's going to be 24 and a half. I'm not sure at the moment. All right, I'm going to go ahead and press this. And then we'll look at the number and add the next size.
You know, I could be doing quarters there. That's easy on it.
I know, but I'm doing it back and forth. I'd rather not have to pass it to you, pass it to you, and just stand here, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to look and I'm going to measure twice because, so it's exactly 24. Okay, yeah, right, 24 inches. So it'll be a 24-inch when you do 2 borders, and it'll be 22 inches if you do just one border. So you can have however big of a wall hanging you would like then. 22 or 24. All right, so this is being cut at 24 inches, and this will get added to the top and the bottom. Set that aside because I don't need it. And I still have enough for binding, which is perfect. All right, sew these on. And like I said earlier, give it a few days, and then in the Facebook group, Karen will have put a downloadable PDF. We 100% truly like beyond phenomenally appreciate what she does for my channel when it comes to writing everything out. She even writes out the ones that I don't give measurements. She gives you a general like description of everything that I said and did in the video, you know? All right, I'm gonna press this and you can turn the camera back to normal on the wall so we can hang it up and everybody can see both styles. One with 2 borders. I love it with the 2 borders. I think I love it better than the one. No, I like the 1 border as well. And you just look at it. I don't know. We'll see in a minute. But they'll be side by side so we could see. So you can see in 2 hours, you're able to complete this. Technically an hour and like 50 minutes. But who's counting? I'm going to move this one over here so that the other one is more in the main area so that I can sit. All right, here's what it looks like with 2 borders. Oh, I love it. So this one's 24 inches square, and this one's 22 inches square. And I still have enough for binding for this one, and I have my binding for this, which is the gray color. So let's make sure real quick. Yep, 24 inches. 24 inches. Look at that. I definitely like with the white. It brings all this out, but this brown also does. It's like, hey, look at me. And putting the block on point. So it's like an Ohio star when it's regular, but then you put it on point and it becomes sawtooth star. Changes the look of everything. I did lose a lot of the points here, like a lot of points. These are touching, but next time I make it, I'll just remember to trim like I told myself to do today, but I didn't do that. Go figure. I did tell myself, though, to do it. I just didn't. All right, let me hold it a little bit closer so you can see. there that is. All right, I hope you guys get a chance to make it. Again, the block itself is called the Combination Star Block. If you type in explanation pattern real quick, you'll get a link to where you can buy the book. It's from Celebrate with Quilts by Lisa Alexander and Susan Ake. So there's that. And it was page, if you do buy the book, it's page 24 and 25. Just in case you're curious. And I gave all the measurements along the way so that if you don't have the book or you can't afford to go get it, you can make it from scraps. I would love to see what this looks like in scraps, actually. If you are going to make one and you make it in scraps, make sure to post it in the Facebook group or on Instagram and tag hashtag Tiffany's Quilting Life on Instagram, and I'll be able to see it. All right. Is that it? No more questions? All right, guys. Well, thank you all for hanging out. I'm going to go eat and eat. I need to eat. I need to go to the kitchen, and I think I'm going to have sausage pancakes.
Tell them you will see them on Sunday for Mother's Day.
And I will see you guys all on Sunday for Mother's Day. And if I don't see you, happy Mother's Day in advance. So bye, everybody. See you in my next video. Toodles. Later. Bye.